Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. That's an incredibly colorful shirt.
Thank you.
With the
I
dinos. I love it. I love it. You have the matching underwear for it.
Actually, I got a story about this.
Dude, take your helmet. Let's do the full 360. Let's go, or the headphones off. Let's see it. Show the
It's
camera.
same shirt on the back as it is on the front. Yeah, I got a story about this shirt, actually. And Cucci could confirm this, Anthony Cucci. We were at a lunch, and we were out in Chandler, and this old man come up to me. He just got out of the hospital, and he wanted to go get a steak. But he was battling cancer for like a year. And he said, "I love your shirt." So I ripped my shirt off, gave it to him, and ended up buying another one. So every time I put this on, I think about that guy. I wonder how he's doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, literally gave him the shirt off my back.
Dude,
That's cool.
I got nothing now, dude. Like,
I feel like a jerk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
You're going to want to text the word team to 623-AZ-RECON. That's team to 623-AZ-RECON. A lot of people don't understand, especially when they're buying a home or investing in a home, that you just don't stop at the real estate agent, the person who's going to actually help you navigate through the real estate transaction itself, because there's so many team members involved, and each one plays such an important role. And it's important that when you especially start with us as real estate wealth managers, or you start with any agent, to understand the team around them. But let's just start with us as real estate wealth managers, brag on us a little bit, and Ryan, the differentiator between what we do and what most of our listeners are going to get when they talk to or they hire another real estate professional.
Let me handle this one.
Okay.
And then you guys can take care of the other stuff, because I get to work with you guys all the time, and I get to see the differences between you guys and other people. So I think first off, just creating relationships with your people you work with. I feel like they're long-lasting relationships, not transactional. I feel like then it goes into this is what we believe in. You're giving them your statement and laying out what 401k is and how you can make money through real estate, how you can use those properties to make money. And I've had multiple people just really believe in this. Really cool to hear from their side of things. And it's always different with each person and what they're excited to achieve. But then when it comes down, my favorite part with you guys is the negotiation portion. We were talking about this early this week and how you guys do your homework on it. And you talked to me about your approach too. If you feel like you can get a lot from the sellers, you come to me, what can we do if I got 4% seller concessions? Well, what does this do to the payment? What's the difference there? You lay out all your plans together and you guys go after it. And I'm telling you, still to this day, I don't think we've seen an appraisal come in at value or below. The appraisal's always higher, and we've seen significant percentages higher too. I think one of the top ones we've seen is 15% or something like that, higher. Pretty crazy in markets where that's not even close to normal. That's not normal. These houses should be selling. So big wins there. That's my side of it.
All right.
Well, then I'm going to brag on you a little bit. Thank you for that. That was unbelievable.
Well, then,
Appreciate that.
well, then that goes into the segue. Is your real estate professional matters, and their experience level and their appetite to negotiate on your behalf matters, but it's also, you got to be careful when you do talk to a real estate professional of what lender they put in front of you, and doing your due diligence and your homework on that lender, because you don't know the relationship. Like, we love you to pieces, but we don't give you our business because we like you. We golf with you and drink with you because we like you.
Right.
We give you our
Well, we
business.
were doing that before we were working
That's true,
together.
but we give you our business because of what you do and who you are.
And I think that yesterday sums up at least 80% of what I would want to say, and that is, so I was going on a listing appointment yesterday, and it was from one of our supporters over there at Friends of Freedom. He showed up to our function a couple weeks ago, and then reached out and said, hey, I got to sell my house, and I said, okay, well, let's set up time, go over there, kind of take a look at everything, talk it through, and just get in a more controlled environment, because the event, it was chaos everywhere. There's blackjack, there's poker, there's people drinking, there's music, there's all kinds. Anyhow, so I went and met up with him.
Bratwurst.
Yeah, lots of food, lots of food.
Anything.
So
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. I go over there and we're sitting down talking, and he's a double amputee. He got injured in Afghanistan, and he's just this awesome dude, that served our country for years, and they were taking care of him. Government was doing good by him, but he had gotten himself in a position with a relationship of his, and so they got a divorce, and he was in a very, very low equity position on this property. He bought it on a VA, was 0% down, had built some equity, but then had done a refinance and consolidated a bunch of other debt that had nothing to do with real estate, which kind of put him over the top, not at the time, but when the market adjusted a little bit on him, it put him below any type of threshold to do either another refinance or anything like that. And so I'm sitting there talking to him, and I said, it looks like you have a VA on here. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, so are you trying to sell the house because you feel like you have to, or like, what's the deal? And he's like, man, I'd love to stay here. He said, but I got declined to do my refinance. And I said, well, you have IRL options out there. It's like, yeah, I kind of brought that up to them, or they kind of brought that up to me too, but they said because of the divorce or whatever that they weren't going to let me do that and whatnot. And I was just like, well, who did you talk to? He said, well, I called up the company that's currently servicing my mortgage right now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so what you're telling me is that you called up whoever was over there at the customer service number, probably getting paid $30 an hour to answer phones, and is reading off some type of list on the do's and can't do's, and just feeding you information from some letter rather than using critical thinking and knowledge and background and experience in order to give you the correct consultation. He's like, yeah, that's probably pretty darn accurate. And I was like, okay. I had a few more questions. I won't get into all the nitty gritty of those types of details, but I said, I'm going to make a phone call right now, and I'm going to put them on speaker, and I'm going to share a lot of your personal information with them. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah, shit. And I was like, because I think that there's an option here that allows you to keep the home and get a heck of a lot better monthly payment, because you guys you're now from a 2-income household to a 1-income household, which is your primary reason behind needing to sell this home. But if we could get that, $500-600 a month less, he's like, yeah, I could stay here. I could afford that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So got Justin's team on the line, Vinny, and it's not just you that's awesome.
Yeah, Vinny's great.
Like
yeah, Vinny's great. He's been with me for a really long time.
Your whole team is great, dude. Yeah. And so he rattled off even more questions and more critical thinking than, because this is
we got to be thinking about it.
Yeah, you should know more than me about that, right? So we fleshed it all out and set up a time for them to go through a more formal consultation and application process. And it looks like you guys are going to be able to get something done that he never thought possible. And I'll be honest with you, when I was just sitting there talking with him, kind of about the idea of being able to keep it, his eyes were welling up. Like this is like, dude.
And honestly, even if it doesn't work out the way we needed to, we can get an amendment to the divorce decree.
Right.
And that really won't be too difficult. Yeah. And so it's definitely possible. So yeah, it's just sad.
It is. And so just bragging on you and your team.
Thank you.
It's just there's 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 an aptitude, there's an experience level, there's a knowledge level, there's a level of careness that you and your whole entire team have, and that's the reason why you guys can get shit done that a lot of other people can't or aren't willing to put in the elbow grease to get done.
Yeah.
And that's why you're such a pivotal piece of the puzzle in everything that Mike and I are always trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with your guys' this critical thinking and out of the box thinking, it does take a lot of work to put into, because it's not something that is like, oh, I deal with this every day. You know, these are ideas that a lot of times nobody's ever brought up to me. I don't know if there's not.
But the reason why I think it just comes down to that critical thinking. It's not like we go out and seek the most difficult situations out there. It's just most agents just kind of stop with there's no hope, there's no option. Don't even think to call you, and especially for Ryan, you know, I mean,
100%.
he's always looking for an avenue to help people, and that's why you get the most interesting situations.
Yeah, well, and it's not that these aren't doable or anything that you, but you tend to find something that is okay, and we turn it into something. Wow, okay, this is a great deal. Let's go. You know, exciting.
So it does really come down to the team that you surround yourself around when you are especially buying and selling a home. And I like to think of it as kind of like the president has his cabinet, right? The president says this is what we want to do, and the cabinet goes out and gets the stuff done. And I think the third element, and in Arizona, every state's different, but Arizona, we're a title state. So you'll be working with a title company that does not only does the title work and the title search and all that, but also serves as the escrow company. And I think one of the most important people in the equation is the escrow officer. And I don't think a lot of people really think about it because a lot of people don't understand what an escrow officer does. And I've seen a lot of deals, I'm not going to say go south, but get very complicated, get delayed, money lost, money left on the table, and don't have that ability to solve problems. And so I implore people when you're working with an agent, whoever you're working with, and working with a lender, and they recommend the title company, find out about that escrow officer because Bianca plays an incredible role in what we do.
Right. And I mean, I will say this, there's been a lot of good escrow officers out there. And if you're, you know, if you got a full doc loan and you got 30 days to close escrow on a tract home that's 2 years old and it's been owned by the same person and it's the most conventional real estate deal ever, there's not many title companies that aren't going to wow you, right? Even then, there's some that are still going to disappoint you. Where like I've seen escrow money or earnest money get lost. I've seen anyhow. It's when you get to that point in your investment career and you're wanting to advance your portfolio, to identify properties and situations that other people don't have the ability or they don't have the wherewithal or the stamina to do it. You need that person that understands the intricacies of escrow and title work in order to get through it. Because there are going to be scenarios where you might be dealing with a probate, you might be dealing with a carryback, you might be dealing with subordinate positioning, you might be dealing with clouded title, you might be dealing with HOA crap, you might be dealing like that, like the list goes on. And if one of those things are missed, okay, big deal. It might get delayed a little bit, with someone who doesn't know those things. But in some of those situations, it could completely squash the deal, because it could completely change what the seller was expecting to net, or it could completely change what the buyer was expecting to come to the table with. And that's usually it's usually time or money that end up being the biggest deal breakers when it comes to title and escrow.
All right, and so then the last piece of the pie to me is the home inspector. The home inspection company that you hire does matter, and that's why we use Anthony Cucci at HCP Home Inspection. So I gotta tell you the story. I haven't even told this to you yet, Ryan. So we've got that listing on Bentry, right?
Yeah.
And so we get this. I don't even remember the name of it, but almost as like an inspection summary, but it was even shorter than that. It was a weird the name that this inspector came up with. I can't remember off the head. I've never heard of it, but on there, and they put it on the Binzer. And for those of you that don't know what a Binzer is, let's just call it a list of repairs that you're possibly asking the seller to take care of when you're buying. Was there was no paperwork supporting that the HVAC system was serviced in the last 12 months, and requesting us to either provide that paperwork or have it serviced. Okay. And I'm like, I've never had a buyer ask that. And so then I'm like, okay, but I need to get a hold of the full inspection report. And the buyer was pushing back. Oh, we're not providing the full inspection report. I'm like, oh, yeah, you are. And so I finally got my hands on the full inspection report, and the HVAC system is in perfect condition, satisfactory condition on every aspect. They're just wanting us to go out and get it serviced and inspected. And first of all, it's not the buyer's job to get it, or it's not the seller's job to get anything inspected. That falls on the buyer. So I called Anthony, and I'm like, dude, what? I go, have you ever seen this? He goes, I've never heard of that. And I sent him over the documents. He goes, yeah. He goes, dude. Anthony sits on the board that takes care of complaints against home inspection companies. He goes, yeah, this dude would get dinged up for this, and so forth. So, but home inspection company means everything.
No, I've definitely had buyers say, hey, seller, go get this thing inspected and then go fix it for me. And I'm like, okay, cool. What else? Because I'm going to get the biggest dipshit HVAC person over there and be like, hey, go tell me that thing looks good. Because and there's nothing, there's nothing screwballish about that. There's nothing unethical. That is a buyer or a buyer's agent not knowing what the hell that they're doing, because I don't want a seller inspecting anything for me.
No.
Right? No. And furthermore, I don't even want them repairing anything for me. Like, I want to deal with it in dollars.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, I'm not going to necessarily get into strategies on negotiations when it comes to inspection responses, but when it comes to the inspection process, I've definitely seen that. I've seen service records been requested before, for sure, but usually it's in response to, hey, we've noticed some dirty coils, or some evidence of there's been some negligence here. Send us over your service reports over the past year on your HVAC system, because we got some red flags there. But if the thing looks brand new, etc., that's just a buyer probably chat GPT'd something, and some obscure Wikipedia said, oh, maybe you should ask for the service records of the AC unit. It's like, okay, like what are we trying to focus on here? Right?
I almost agreed to everything on the Binzer, because the agent basically copied and pasted everything from the summary report. And like, there was some stuff in the backyard as far as evidence of water not draining properly and moss. And it just said throughout the entire document, home inspector noticed this. Home inspector noticed that. Home inspector noticed this.
So it's not a repair list.
So was it there was one or two things that they requested repair? So I almost said, hey, let's just agree to everything. And they're like, well, what'd you do about the backyard? Well, we acknowledge that your home inspector noticed something.
Yeah. We too noticed it. So hey, high five. Like I'm telling you,
that's funny.
If a buyer, or even if just someone that was brand new to the industry thought about how some of these, like what we've seen, how they read, they thought about it for 30 seconds, they'd be like, ooh, there's too much ambiguity there. It's too black. It's too much gray. We need to make this thing black and white. Like, oh, hey, inspector noticed that light switch wasn't working. I'm not going to, hey, go fix the damn light switch.
Yep.
Like, we don't care how you fix it.
Nope.
Right? Go fix it. More ideally, it'd be, hey, give me $250 so I can go fix the light switch, because I know how to fix the light switch the way I want it fixed.
All right. Well, the team you surround yourself around when it comes down to doing real estate does matter, whether it's your agent, or in our case, real estate wealth manager, your lender, your escrow officer, and your home inspector. It truly does matter. And do your homework and do your research on every company that is being recommended to you. But we'd love to introduce you to our team. We'd love to introduce you to our strategies. All you got to do is text the word team to 623 AZ Recon. That's team to 623 AZ Recon.